Hello every pony, and here I am again, Visual Pony, with chapter 15 of my very own story, Children of the Night. I hope you enjoy it. Children of the Night, chapter 15. Shock, Awakening. The stallion felt exhausted, even so he had just woken up. His eyes felt heavy, and he did not know where he was. All his thoughts were hazy and confused, while he tried to remember something as essential as his own name. Then it finally came to him. My name is Shining Armor, Captain of the Royal Guard, Unicorn Division. But why was he here, and where was he in the first place? He couldn't remember. His whole body ached as if he had tried to run a marathon. The air around him smelled sweet, but still a little sour. Everything was warm and cozy. He wanted to go back to sleep, but then a female voice addressed him. He had to really concentrate to hear what it was saying, but understood it eventually. So you have finally awoken. In your sleep you have much spoken. You were hurt pretty bad. Your sister would be sad. Then it came to him like a lightning bolt. He jolted up, his eyes wide open. Cadence! Twilight! Shining Armor clutched his right flank, only to find it bandaged. A few steps away, a zebra mare stood with her back to him, while she was stirring the contents of a giant pot with a wooden spoon. Who are you? She turned around to face him. Her mane was styled in a way he had never seen before. Also, he could not make any sense of her cutie mark. I am Zakura, do not fear. To heal you I am here. When I found you, you were bleeding. Couldn't eat for weeks without spoon feeding. As his heartbeat accelerated, it all came back to him. The invasion, the fight with Chrysalis, the escape through Everfree. He remembered these last few moments before he had passed out from blood loss and exhaustion. His barrier had fallen, and the changelings had come charging right at him. But then something had been poured over him, and the changelings just passed him as if he wasn't even there. One of them actually had bumped into him, looking confused. But how come they didn't kill me? The zebra chuckled and pointed a hoof at a bottle on one of the shelves. On it was her cutie mark. That substance carries my scent. For protecting others it is meant. Changelings would never do me ill. Chrysalis it would kill. They rely on their noses very much, so I could save you with this liquid's touch. So I guess I have to thank you for my life then. But why do the changelings leave you alone? Why would Chrysalis kill the changelings that dared to harm you? And what about the princesses? Chrysalis owes me her life. I hoped she would for peace now strive. Luna and Celestia reached the garden. Moira won't say, I beg your pardon. Moonsinger will be here soon. You will leave before the setting moon. Who is Moonsinger? Moonsinger is your princess's daughter. To the changelings she will bring the slaughter. I pity the ones she will meet, for all that awaits them is defeat. Daughter? Princess Celestia has no daughter. The zebra chuckled and shook her head. It is not Luna I mean. It is no wonder you haven't seen. Moonsinger is faithful and has an ideal, but there are hard things she has with to deal. Shining Armor thought for a moment. So this Moonsinger was coming to get him and take him somewhere. If this zebra trusted her, then that should be good enough for him. She had saved his life after all. So where will this Moonsinger fellow take me? Is there even a safe place left in all of Equestria? I will say no more. There is some pony at the door. With that, Zakura simply ignored any questions Shining Armor threw after her. He didn't know what to make of it, but then again he didn't really have a right to complain. She did save his life, so he shouldn't let his eagerness to learn what had happened while he was out disturb her work. When the door swung open, Shining Armor saw nothing but blackness, until 2 eyes came into view that shone like the moon itself. For a moment he thought that he was facing Princess Luna, but it was a light brown unicorn mare that entered the room, with dark brown ears and a crescent moon cutie. "What?" he exclaimed, pointing a hoof at Moonsinger's flank. She snorted and shot him an annoyed glare before addressing Zakura. "Is it ready, Master Zakura?" "Yes, indeed. I have a bottle of what you need. But I have to tell you something. I might have to use my special talent very soon." The zebra was so shocked she almost let the bottle she was about to hoof over to Moonsinger fall to the ground. With a stern look she faced the mare while placing the bottle in her saddlebags instead of hoofing it over. "Never you must make this mistake. Only destruction will be in your wake. Never stop taking your potion, or dark things you set in motion." Moonsinger flinched at her teacher's stern face. She had learned a lot from Zakura, but she had never seen her this worried? Yes, there was not a hint of anger in her eyes, but only worry. After a few moments the two discussed the transport of the injured guard captain. Moonsinger had known of his whereabouts the night after her mother had returned to the garden, but had not told any pony, since even her friend and teacher was uncertain of his survival. Now, however, he seemed to have recovered enough to accompany her to the garden. She trotted over to him, extending a hoof in greeting. "So you are Shining Armor, huh? I can't wait to see Goldshield's face when she see you are actually alive." "Goldshield? Is she okay? What about the other guards and the princesses?" Moonsinger's face darkened. "Your other comrades are fine. They await you in the garden. Celestia is in Ponyville, and our mother—" "Mother?" "Yes, well, you might call her Princess Luna, but for us she is our dear mother." "So what about Princess Luna? Is she hurt? Has anything happened to her? And if so, is there a rescue being planned? If not, we have to get on it right away." Moonsinger smiled. She had never seen any of the daylight ponies react that way when her mother's danger was mentioned. "Maybe they really have changed," she thought to herself before answering the flood of questions the other unicorn was now directing at her. "Yes, something did happen to her. We don't know if she's okay or if she's hurt. No, we don't have a rescue operation going on right now, but we are working on it. At the moment the changeling outnumber us too much, so we have to free other towns to raise our numbers. Yes, I would like to charge right into Canterlot myself and bust her out, but that is not possible at the moment. The elements of harmony? As far as our information goes, they were captured, but have somehow escaped? We don't know for sure. All we know is that their cells actually disappeared. Even our source wasn't able to tell us more than that. Yes, we are looking for them. Princess Cadence? Well, she's in Ponyville. She arrived this morning, but can we please get going? I want to get to the garden before moonset, so I can get some sleep during the day for a change. My sleep rhythm is all out of sync." Shining Armor tilted his head. "Sleep during the day? Oh yeah, there's no way of you knowing this, but now come on. Let's be on our way. I can explain while we walk." With that, Shining Armor got to his hoofs unsteadily, and soon collapsed to his knees without being able to take a single step. Throwing a glance over at Zakura, Moonsinger sighed and levitated him to her side. "I guess I'll just have to carry you then. Zakura is not really used to long-term visitors, and she's already getting grumpy." "Grumpy I'm not getting, but sleeping on the floor is upsetting." Moonsinger chuckled. She knew exactly where to push to get her teacher to snap. "Very well, master. We will go now. Thank you for taking care of my little problem." "It is nothing, I may say, but be gone now. It soon is day." A few minutes later. Moonsinger was trotting quietly through the forest, while levitating Shining Armor beside her. The stallion was impressed that she was able to hold his weight this long, and she didn't even start to break a sweat. "So, what was that problem you were talking about back there?" Has it to do with your special talent and that potion?" "Well, I guess since you saw that exchange, I can't deny it. But I must ask you to keep it a secret. Yes, this is a potion to suppress my special talent. Before I came to know Master Zakura, I caused quite a fuss with it every now and then, since I have problems controlling it. But ever since I started to study under her and taking this potion, my life has been relatively normal." "What is your special talent, then?" "That, buddy, is none of your business," she snapped at him. "But I'm a royal guard. I need to know, since that Zebra mentioned it might be dangerous." Moonsinger sighed. She had hoped he hadn't heard that part of the conversation. "I control the moonlight whenever I sing." "The moonlight? So basically the same as Princess Luna? That would explain your cutie marks, then." "No, I hurt ponies with it. Whenever I sing—" She looked up at the full moon. "The moon's rays get concentrated on the area I am in. They start piercing everything around me. I can't control what or who they hit, but they do. In the past, I always left the garden when the urge to sing became overwhelming. You see, if you don't use your special talent in a long time, you get an irresistible urge to do it. I hurt some of my best friends when I discovered my special talent while singing in a school play. I never want to see that happen again. But that kind of power is only for alicorns? Well, you're right, it is." Shining Armor looked at Moonsinger, dumbstruck. Again he inspected her body, but there were no wings to be found. "But you—" "Have no wings? Exactly. But there are actually 3 ways of becoming an alicorn. One of them is if your magical ability is too strong for your body to handle, so it naturally ascends into that of an alicorn. That potion is also dampening my magical ability. I don't know why exactly, but supposedly I am the first unicorn, or any pony for that matter, that doesn't want to become an alicorn. There are just too many risks involved, so I dampen my own magic to keep my body from changing." "But isn't it dangerous? I mean, dragging your body like this." "True, it is painful at times, and there are side effects. But I won't discuss them with you, mister. My love life is no danger to your princess." Shining Armor looked her right in the eye to see if she was serious, but other than a slight blush, he didn't see anything there. She wasn't lying about the side effects being none of his business. Clearing his throat, he tried to change the subject to a less embarrassing topic. "So, what is that garden you keep talking about?" Moonsinger's eyes brightened. "It is the most beautiful place you can imagine. It is inside a barrier our dear mother created over 1,000 years ago. I was one of the first ones to—" Moonsinger went on, describing the garden to Shining Armor, and explaining the barrier's effect on the inhabitants. He couldn't help but smile when she described everything to him. It sounded like the perfect place to live peacefully. Soon he had to also understood why they had called Princess Luna their dear mother. His smile widened. What Moonsinger told him sounded exactly like the Princess Luna he had come to know. His mind trailed off to a night shortly after Luna had returned from the moon. The Princess of the Night had stood on the observation tower after having raised the moon, when Shining Armor had found her. She was looking all over Equestria, and tears were glistening in the corner of her eyes. "What's wrong, Princess? Are you hurt?" She had turned around, looking a bit startled that some pony was there with her. "No, we are just thinking." "All right, Your Highness. If you need anything, please don't hesitate to let me know." He had turned around to complete his tour, but the princess had called out to him. If you don't mind, would you mind talking with us for a while? We have been away for 1,000 years. We know nothing of this world." They in fact had talked all night, without him noticing. He had told her all about the modern Equestria, while she told him of friends she had 1,000 years ago that were now long dead. She told him of Starswirl the Bearded, and Clover the Clever, Princess Platinum, and General Stormwind. When the sun had finally risen at the horizon, the princess had thanked him. After that, they had talked almost every night, until one night the princess had not been on the observation tower. "Armor?" A familiar voice pulled him out of his thoughts. As he looked up, a tearful Goldshield was already charging right at him, knocking him out of Moonsinger's magical embrace and right to the floor. "What? Goldshield, stop that! Ouch!" The Earth Pony mare hugged him, and when she had finally made sure it was him, risen her foreleg and gave her friend fellow captain a hard smack to the face. "How dare you! I thought you were dead! Where have you been, you useless numbskull? Where?" She cried in his chest as she kept shouting, until Moonsinger separated the two with her magic. Now, Goldshield, if I didn't know any better, I would think you had a crush on Shining Armor. Let the poor guy rest. Some of the enforcers can take him to Sagittarius, since there's the closest hospital." Wiping her face with one hoof and blushing slightly, Goldshield nodded. Moonsinger waved a group of enforcers to her side, who took the injured Shining Armor between them. Even when they left for Sagittarius, Goldshield never once left his side. She really acts like she is his mare friend, but isn't he married to that Princess Cadence? Moonsinger wondered. Here in the garden, marriages were a little different from the outside world, that she knew. Monogamy was actually pretty rare. Most married couples had lovers. Her gaze followed the group of leaving ponies as she shook her head. Inside the garden, things like this were okay, but outside, most ponies would surely not tolerate such a thing. Moreover, his wife was a princess. Not that it would have mattered to any pony in the garden that she was, but the fact remained. Twilight Sparkle and the others sat around the table. Fluttershy had summoned with her newfound magic. As a precaution, they had found out Discord had not simply made the doors of their cells disappear, but shifted the rooms themselves deeper into Mount Unicornia. Once Fluttershy and Rainbow Dash had located Twilight and Pinky, they had teleported themselves into their cell, startling the two friends. But in the end, Fluttershy's magic had been able to remove the silencer on Twilight's horn. She had then set to work to find their other friends and carved paths to them through the rock of the mountain. Applejack, all four legs now in a cast, was looking a little sleepy, what Twilight chalked up to the fact that they had given her strong painkillers. The Earth Pony had been screaming as if they were impaling her when Fluttershy and Twilight had re-broken the partially healed bones and set them right. Good for them, the medical supplies Discord had summoned also contained painkillers and antibiotics. "So, girls, what are we to do now?" she asked, addressing all five of them. Pinkie Pie, her hair still unusually flat, raised a hoof and slammed it down on the table. "I say we go out there and make them pay," she said, causing all of her friends to stare at her in disbelief. That was so unlike the cheerful party pony that even Twilight was a little taken aback. "No, darling, we can't do that. We might have the elements, thanks to Discord, but we are still only 6 mares. I think it would be best if we try to find Princess Celestia and see what we can do afterwards." As much as I don't believe I'm saying this, I agree with Rarity. I mean, Fluttershy has already confirmed that Princess Luna is kept in the old mines beneath us, but there is just no way we can fight our way there, not with my wings like this. Rainbow Dash flapped her tiny wings for emphasis. But how are we to find the princess? Neither Fluttershy's nor my magical senses reach farther than the outskirts of Canterlot, and I can't sense her aura anywhere in the vicinity. Well, I guess we maybe should not act yet anyway. Look at all of us. All of us are hurt. Give us some time to heal up. Applejack said, sounding more like she was mumbling to herself than addressing any of them. We should try to free Princess Luna, if you don't mind, Fluttershy stated, her face half hidden beneath the table. She clearly was uncomfortable with her new appearance. I actually would like that. I mean, if we could find a way to get down there. Wait, there is a way! Pinkie of all ponies said. "We are deep in the mountain now, and Fluttershy said that Luna is not far away from us. In fact, right beneath us. Couldn't you two just carve a way into the mines, to the cavern she is in?" "Actually, Pinkie, that is not a bad idea. If we can bust Luna out, then we can fight the changelings from within Canterlot. Having another spellcaster alongside me and Fluttershy wouldn't hurt either." Twilight gave Rarity a glance. Her friend was hanging her head. Fluttershy hadn't been able to let her horn regrow, nor to heal her eye. These injuries had been inflicted by magic, and hers wasn't powerful enough to heal them. If there was any chance to do so, it would be to wait until Discord broke out of his stone prison once again. Luna was feeling weaker by the second. Her cell was now almost filled with only pure black magic. The last few sparks of her dark purple unicorn magic and her pale white alicorn magic were slowly fading. 4 days she had not eaten anything, nor had she slept a single second. Her mental defenses were crumbling fast, and without access to the moon, she had no means of replenishing her alicorn mana. "I told you, you had your chance. Now you will be consumed." "You will not succeed." But Luna could feel the dark tendrils of Nightmare Moon's mind already enveloping her own. She had lost. She had thrown everything she had against Nightmare Moon, and it hadn't been enough. With a last scream of agony and defeat, Luna collapsed to her knees. Being now completely enveloped in Nightmare Moon's black magic, her body began to transform once again. There was no fighting it. She had done her best, but all she could do now was preserve her mind. She shall not allow the shadows to devour her. Her mind had to stay separated from it. If she was eaten, then there was no hope for her any more. Nightmare Moon took a deep breath. It felt good to finally be the ruling persona in this body again. Even so it was weakened, it would be more than enough to do what she had in mind. After her escape, she would find that petty insect and crush her beneath her hooves. A single shred of what was once Princess Luna remained in her mind, but she didn't care. The princess might have shielded the last rest of herself against her influence, but no matter how much the time she had to recover, would never be able to banish her out of her mind ever again. Not on her own, at least. She snorted. The elements of harmony. If their bearers were still alive, she would have to find them to eliminate the threat. With a little bit of concentration, she turned herself into mist, floating through the window in the ceiling of her prison. There stood 2 changeling guards that were startled by her appearance as she reformed her body. But just as she wanted to crush them for the impudence of imprisoning her, a large chunk of the ceiling fell down upon them. She could not believe her eyes, and stood there in shock for an awkward moment. Out of the hole in the ceiling came all 6 bearers of the elements of harmony, wearing their embodiments. Twilight finished the spell that had carved the tunnel they intended to use to free Princess Luna, carefully not to destroy too many of the rocks. They would have to close it up after them, after all, if they succeeded. She had insisted they took the elements with them, just in case something happened, which they had not anticipated. And then it happened. The last rock fell, and the 6 friends entered the chamber in which they thought Princess Luna was imprisoned. Twilight was so shocked at what she saw that Applejack almost slipped out of her magical grip. Instead of the Princess of the Night they had hoped to find, the 6 were once again face to face with Nightmare Moon.